Hello, we are going to be doing the makeup for Rapunzel's Prince. This is going to be pretty warm toned, so we're just going to start with this nice warm taupey brown color, and we're going to use that as the base color for our contour. This is going to be pretty sharp, but not as square as some of the other ones. We want this to be sharp, but we're still going to keep it relatively soft and round while still being nice and defined. So I'm just going in and adding that color, a little more of that pigment where I need it, and just making sure it is nice and blended out. And so now I'm going in with this smaller brush, but that same warm brown, and I am gonna just square out my nose a little bit and get it nice and warm, because that base can really whiten stuff out. And then I will blend it up to my eyebrow, and also I'm going to be shadowing this tip of the nose so that it is nice and round and it brings that part of the face forward more. There we have a nice princely nose, and I am also going to define part of the chin. This will also just help that stick forward more. And I like to define my cupid's bow a little bit. That's not necessary, but I think it brings the look together. And now I'm just going in and making sure that nose is nice and blended. And I'm also adding just a little bit of that brown to my jawline, just to even it all out and make it look nice and cohesive. And using that fluffier brush, I'm just going to blend it out. Make sure none of the lines for that are too harsh. Same thing with the nose, making sure those edges aren't too sharp, that they're nice and soft. And I'm just blending underneath the contour a little bit, like I said, just to soften up the whole thing. And now that I'm happy with that, I'm going to go in with this sharp angled brush, and I'm going into this kind of reddish brown, and I'm going to start defining my eyebrows and squaring them out a little bit. Kind of like the other princes, I want this to just be really nice and clean cut. And I'm just flattening out the bottom of my own brows and kind of bringing up the angle more, and then everything else is just kind of with the natural brown shape. So as you can see, like I said, I'm sharpening up those corners, but my eyebrow has a natural kind of angle at the top, so if yours doesn't, that is okay, just create it. And then once I have the outline, I like to go in and fill it with kind of a lighter amount of product on the brush and just go in really softly and kind of blend out the inside of those lines before filling it all the way. That just kind of helps it look a little more like eyebrows and less like these kind of weird painted shapes. And just adding more product in where I think it needs a little extra. And that is the nice thing about makeup, is you can just use a little bit of foundation or concealer to kind of clean up any edges that you don't like. And I'm just going in with my beauty blender and kind of blending that out, just so that edge stays nice and sharp. And I'm just really sharpening out and flattening the bottom of that eyebrow so it is nice and sharp. And just checking between them to make sure that they are even. And I'm going to go in with this fluffy brush now. And I'm going to put that kind of warm brown tone right on my eyelid. And then I'm going to blend it down to my nose contour and just over and around and make sure it's all nice and sharp. And then I am blending it down underneath my eye just to deep set the eyes a little bit and keep it all nice and connected. And now that we've got the pigment on there, just softening up the edges a little bit before going in for the next step, which is going to be using that same flat angled brush, and I am just defining the outer corner of my lash line and then just bringing it up a little bit. This is just really going to sharpen the eyes themselves and make them look fully defined. And I'm bringing it slightly down from the actual edge of my eye, and then I will connect it down to the lower lash line from that brought down edge. And this is just going to add that nice definition to the eyes so that they don't get lost in the eyelashes. And now I'm going to go in with this rosy blush color on the higher points of my cheeks and then just putting all the pigment there, and then I am just going to use these round motions to blend it out towards the apple of my cheeks, but really focusing more of the pigment on that higher part of my face. This will help, bring all of that color into the face without rounding it out too much. Like I said, just focusing on that higher point of the face and then using those circular motions to blend it down onto the apples of the cheeks. But as you can see, I'm not ever putting direct product on there. I'm just blending it down to the rounder parts of the face. And I'm also adding a little bit of blush to the chin to give it a little definition and kind of help it stand out a little bit. And I'm just using Beauty Blender to buff it out a little bit so it's not too harsh. And once we're happy with that, that is the makeup for Rapunzel's Prince. Thank you!